And Indiana has done it. Their first ever Commissioner's Cup championship, knocking off the Minnesota Lynx. This is Howard setting up McDonald, knocking down the tray. Finds it cutting McDonald, easy dude.
The Indiana Fever just silenced the basketball world without their superstar. No Caitlin Clark, no veterans, no mercy. In the biggest game of the year, the Fever did the unthinkable, dominated the Minnesota Lynx to win the Commissioner's Cup. And then, as cameras swarmed the locker room, Caitlin Clark broke her silence with just 6 words. Words that now echo across every corner of the WNBA. Going into this game, the Indiana Fever were falling apart. Caitlin Clark injured. Dwana Bonner quit. Critics laughed. ESPN accidentally published a victory article for the Lynx before the game even started. The odds? -14 against Indiana. The stakes? Everything.
Caitlin and her status, just how did she look? How did she feel today during shoot-around? And is she making progress and getting closer to playing?
She's making progress. You know, I think, again, top of mind, I think I told you this afternoon, is just long-term. You know, making sure that we don't have any setbacks. Making progress and feeling good are two different things. And we want to make sure that she feels good. We want to make sure that she's confident. We want to make sure that we're not putting her in a position to have any setbacks. And that's the priority right now.
From the opening possession, Kelsey Mitchell looked possessed, draining threes, slashing through defenders, and giving her team exactly what Clark normally delivered. But she wasn't alone. Natasha Howard, a name forgotten in MVP conversations, put the league on notice.
Listo. Hey, Fever, I miss you.
When Minnesota tried to mount a run, it was Sophie Cunningham who stomped it out. Her three-point dagger turned the game around. From the bench to the big stage, she had fire in her veins.
Dwana Bonner was brought in for leadership. She was brought in for leadership. And do you want to know all that these young players learned from her? If things don't go your way, refuse to show up. Continue to get paid a max contract while you are sitting out, refusing to play.
She got benched. She couldn't handle it. I want out. She's not playing well. She's getting criticized. I want out.
But the most powerful moment wasn't a three-pointer or a steal. It was Caitlin Clark's silence followed by one explosive quote. She stayed engaged, focused, and fully locked into her team's effort. Then came the locker room celebration.
They look pretty flawless, in the way that they're playing. I don't know if different is the word as much as they look even more connected. They're a team that was connected a year ago, but really the nuance of having each other's back on the defensive end, of knowing where your teammate's going to be, discipline to coverages, the connectivity that they have on the offensive end of the floor. I mean, the way that they move with and without the ball, the way that the ball moves makes it really tough to cover. I often say that offense is like a dance, and they are flowing, man. They are making music, and there's no doubt about it. So we have to try to be disruptive, and we have to try to take them out of that rhythm.
Those 6 words broke the internet. The WNBA's jealousy problem had been simmering for weeks. Critics claimed Clark was overhyped. Players took shots. Veterans tried to shut her down. But now, the team they doubted most just won it all. This wasn't luck. It was domination. Indiana held Minnesota to just 39 points across the final 3 quarters. They forced 5 turnovers from MVP candidate Nafessa Collier and shot nearly 45% as a team.
Coach, this is your first season with this batch of players, and so I'm just wondering if the Commissioner's Cup is just a stepping stone for greater things to come.
Well, I hope so. But at the same time, we want to take care of business now, right? We want to win a cup. So we're not looking at it necessarily as a stepping stone. We're looking at it as an opportunity to win. And then we're looking at it, as coaches, as an opportunity to continue to stack days. We haven't had a lot of consistency in our lineup, and so we haven't really built that camaraderie and connectedness that we need in order for us to be successful. But we can take another step towards growth, another step towards consistency. On the floor, in execution, in energy level. We're playing the best team in the league right now, and we've got to come out and we got to play our A game.
Suddenly, the Fever have options. They've proven they can win without Clark, and with her return looming, the league has every reason to be terrified.
What are some of the keys that you see as to how exactly you're going to do that, or what you guys need to do to approach the game successfully?
Yeah, I think we've got to be disruptive. We've got to make sure that we play with a level of physicality that doesn't allow them to just pass the ball around where everywhere that they want to pass it. So we've got to make sure that we're disruptive. We got to make sure that we're elite at our on-ball screen defense. This is a team that reads really well, that moves really well. We got to be elite at the point of attack on on-ball screen defense. We always talk about guarding our yard, being able to guard one-on-one so we're not in rotation early. I think for us, it's going to have to start on the defensive end of the floor, so that allows us to get out and run in transition as well. But we can't allow them to just do exactly what they want to do on the offensive end.
Anyone else? Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
This was more than just a championship.
It was a statement.
A team disrespected, a rookie mocked, a franchise doubted. But with heart, chemistry, and grit, they proved you don't need stars to make history. You just need belief.
Coach Stephanie White has a motto. She says, pressure is a privilege. You came into the former champion's house and took them down on their home floor. How does it feel to bring Indiana their first championship?
It feels great. We knew that we had to come in here with energy. We know that they're a great team and they were going to go on runs. And so for us, it was about containing those runs and then going on our own.
If you believe this team has what it takes to shock the world, again, drop a comment. I've got the fever. Subscribe for more exclusive WNBA stories you won't see anywhere else. Because this is just the beginning.
What gave you the confidence to come in here and take down this team on their home floor?
We knew we were capable. God has equipped us. And so for us, about coming here and doing what we know what to do. I think the entire game, Coach just continued to instill that confidence, continue to tell us take it one possession at a time, and we did that.
The game plan was obviously to wall off the paint against you and Tosh, but both of you guys finished with double-doubles. How did you guys get freed up? And for you especially, how'd you get going late in this game?
It started with Tosh. Tosh, that entire first half and even that entire game, just really took it to them, made them have to guard. And so with her attacking from different angles, they had to space out a little bit. And that fourth quarter, I was able to score.
And finally, Aaliyah, what are you going to do with your prize money?
That's for me to know.
Congratulations, lady.
The Indiana Fever just pulled off one of the most jaw-dropping upsets in WNBA history without their biggest star. Caitlin Clark benched with a groin injury. Dwana Bonner quit midseason. And yet, this underdog squad just took down the most dominant team in the league, the Minnesota Lynx. What Caitlin Clark said after the game. Just 6 words, and they broke the internet.
Corrals it out to Cunningham in the corner. Got the 3. Indiana on top.
Walking into the Target Center, the Fever were already counted out. Caitlin Clark out. Dwana Bonner gone. The critics? Brutal. Las Vegas had the Fever as 14-point underdogs. They were facing the MVP frontrunner Nafisa Collier. Minnesota was confident. The crowd was loud. And the Fever? They were alone, limping in with half a roster and no excuses.
Howard finds it, cutting McDonald, easy deuce.
Beautiful read by Natasha Howard. And Ari McDonald, that opened up the 3-point shot.
Howard to steal. Open floor in front of her, got the lay. Indiana battling.
This crowd is quiet. Natasha Howard is a former Defensive Player of the Year, knows the ball is coming to Nafisa Collier. Just gets that deflection, gets going in the open court. And it is all Indiana in terms of the momentum in this game right now. This building is quiet.
Just a week earlier, Dwana Bonner stunned the franchise by walking away midseason. Signed for veteran leadership, she bailed after just 9 games. Caitlin Clark? Still benched with a groin injury. Dantas? Playing overseas. The Fever were a roster in free fall. But what no one saw coming was how that chaos would light a fire.
It was a team effort tonight, but with 16 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists, your MVP is Natasha Howard.
Then the unthinkable happened. From tip-off, this wasn't the same Fever team that had stumbled through the past month. Kelsey Mitchell, unstoppable. Natasha Howard, ruthless. Aaliyah Boston, dominant. This was a new team one that played with pride, fire, and purpose.
Mitchell. Over to Cunningham, long range, bottoms! Big time trifecta, Sophie Cunningham.
Even off the court, Clark's influence was everywhere. The Fever weren't just trying to win a title, they were defending the identity Caitlin had helped them build. She wasn't just a scorer. She was the system, the leader, and even in silence, her presence loomed large.
Finds Hull, beyond the arc, is score! Holson with the trifecta.
And that's how you do it.
Over to Cunningham, long range, bottoms!
A joint effort across the board. Everyone on this roster did their part tonight.
As the fourth quarter ticked down, the Fever held their lead. The Lynx were stunned. The crowd, silent. And then, the final buzzer. History was made. The Indiana Fever WNBA Commissioner's Cup champions for the first time in franchise history.
Into this, you talked about so much, hey, you got to have the right approach. Don't trick this off. Like, have the focus. Take me inside that mindset of you guys coming into this game and how tonight was just a collective effort that got it done.
I describe this entire experience as a gut check experience, and I mean that intentionally. I mean physically, mentally, psychologically. It was a gut check moment today, and I think for us, it was about making sure we won those moments that mattered. And I thought down the stretch of the game, we did an unbelievable job of just staying together, weathering the storm, and kind of utilizing what we needed to based on our schemes and our personnel from practice. And I thought down the stretch of the game specifically, we bought in. All 5 of us, whoever was on the floor, bought in, and I think you guys got to see that.
Then, after days of silence, Clark finally spoke. On Instagram Live and later in a brief interview, she said just 6 words. This is just the beginning. Watch. A warning? A promise? One thing's certain. The Fever aren't going away. And neither is Caitlin Clark.
Guys, I just know everybody in the league is sick.
So, what's next? Clark is expected to return by next week. The Fever have proven they can win without her. But with her, they're dangerous. The WNBA has been put on notice, and the Minnesota Lynx just became the first victims of a team reborn. If you believe the Fever are coming for the championship, hit that like button and comment. I've got the Fever. Subscribe for more explosive WNBA coverage. Because this story, it's far from over.
WNBA, it's not a WNBA championship, but to celebrate a championship nonetheless on Target Center on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, we have a resilient group. They're tough mentally, physically. They pull for one another. I don't know if it's something that I learned that I didn't already know. It's just I'm proud for them that they can see it come to fruition. Being able to handle the ebbs and flows of the game, being able to give to one another regardless of struggles. I mean, we had some players that were struggling. We had some moments where we struggled, but we still gave to one another. And that's a growth area for our team. I felt like our execution through 3 quarters on both ends of the floor was really good against an outstanding team. I mean, I'm just really proud of this group.
Caitlin Clark may have been sidelined with a groin injury, but that didn't stop her from delivering one of the most impactful moments of the entire WNBA Commissioner's Cup off the court. In what was expected to be a dominant win for the Minnesota Lynx, the Indiana Fever stunned everyone by orchestrating one of the most shocking upsets in recent WNBA history, defeating the defending champions 74-59. With Clark unable to play, all eyes were on her teammates to see how they would respond under pressure, and what unfolded was a collective masterclass in determination, execution, and resilience. Kelsey Mitchell set the tone early with a scoring blitz, while Natasha Howard delivered an MVP-caliber performance, finishing with 16 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists, proving she still has elite dominance in her game. Sophie Cunningham came off the bench like a flamethrower, igniting the crowd and rallying the team from an early deficit, while Aaliyah Boston showed poise and power against WNBA All-Star Nafisa Collier, grabbing a double-double and controlling the boards. Yet, the moment that electrified the basketball world didn't happen on the court. It came during the post-game locker room celebration, when Caitlin Clark, visibly emotional, surrounded by her teammates, looked directly into the camera and uttered 6 powerful words: "Everybody in the league is sick." Instantly, those words were plastered across social media, interpreted as a shot at the WNBA's growing jealousy and tension surrounding Clark's meteoric rise. All season long, Caitlin Clark has been both the face of a new generation and a lightning rod for criticism, praised by fans, scrutinized by rivals, and tested by veterans. But in this moment, she flipped the narrative. Her message wasn't just about celebration, it was about vindication. The Fever had won without her, proving they weren't just a one-star team. The players she supported from the sidelines, Mitchell, Howard, Cunningham, Hall, and McDonald, had stepped up and silenced every critic who claimed this team couldn't compete without their rookie sensation. Meanwhile, the media had to eat its words. ESPN had pre-scheduled a segment titled "Lynx Cruise to Commissioner's Cup Victory," only to pull it down moments after the final buzzer. Social media exploded with reactions, from fans praising Indiana's grit to analysts acknowledging that this wasn't just a fluke. It was a warning shot to the entire WNBA. Even Lynx coach Cheryl Reeve admitted post-game, "They just beat us." The win wasn't just a trophy. It was a turning point in the season. The Fever had not only outplayed a powerhouse team, but they had done it with team-first basketball, suffocating defense, and flawless execution. And with Caitlin Clark watching from the bench, taking mental notes, and delivering fire in the locker room, it became clear, this team isn't just built to survive without her, they're now dangerous with her. Clark's comment tapped into a larger truth. There has been an undercurrent of tension in the WNBA this season. Questions about favoritism, media overexposure, and resentment from players who feel overshadowed by the rookie's star power. Clark's "everybody is sick" comment called it out directly. It was bold, it was raw, and it struck a nerve. But more importantly, it unified her team. It reminded the league that the Indiana Fever, once written off as irrelevant, are now a serious title threat. With Clark's return on the horizon, and a roster that just proved it can dominate without her, the rest of the league should be very nervous. This wasn't just a win, it was a message. The Fever aren't coming. They're already here.